All right, so it's been about an hour now since I put these on. A little bit over an hour since I last put these on the cooker this morning on the smoker. Gonna come out here and just check them real quick, spritz them. Been holding a temp at about 275. You know, in my offset, I typically cook them about 275, and with all the air that's flowing through, a little bit hotter temp on an offset like mine really helps to keep the cook going and to keep the ribs cooking. You know, if you're using a pellet grill or whatever, feel free to set them at 225 or 230, 240, whatever you want. 225, 235, whatever. But typically on a pellet grill, you go a little bit cooler. But anyways, let's open this up and check them out. So here we can kind of see the ribs. We can see these ones back here, the ones with the pepper. This is the one where I put the turkey seasoning on, or the turkey rub on, the rub we use for the turkey breast. So one thing I wanted to point out too, I always put the fatter end towards the heat source. So typically you just kind of look where the chest bone was, which is right here on this one. Up there, it's on this one. So that chest bone side is going to face the fire side. If you have a pellet and it's your pellet little fire circle is in the middle, just kind of try to put the rib so that this end is facing towards it, and try to keep them away from the center of the pellet smoker. If your pellet smoker is on the side, of course, then just flip them the other way. Keep them there. But we're just going to spritz this real quick, just to make sure that they stay good and moist. I'm just using apple cider vinegar to spritz them, and really the purpose of doing that is just to make sure that they don't dry out. Again, with the air flowing across all the time, they can dry out pretty quickly in mine. So on ribs, I typically check them about every hour. On a pellet one, it's good to check them too, just to make sure that they're staying moist. Don't let them get dried out. Don't let them, especially because they're not going to be sitting in the smoke for too long. Typically about 3 hours max. It's how long they'll be in the smoke before you'll wrap them. So try to keep them as dry as you can. Normally I wouldn't even have the lid open that long. I literally just come out, spritz them, close it right away. It takes about 30 seconds. Don't want to have the lid open any longer than it needs to be. Don't want to lose your temps. Don't want to let all that smoke flavor go out. So anyways, I'll be back to show you guys what I do to wrap them and to show when it's time to get them ready for that. Alright, so it's been about 2.5 hours now since they got put on the smoker. Just coming out here to check the ribs, check them basically to see if it's time to sauce them. So we're going to open this up, and so these ribs are looking really, really good. And there's definitely some good coloring to them. They're definitely getting some redness to them, which is what we want to see. These are ready for sauce. For any pork ribs that I do, I always sauce them. Whether it be spare ribs or back ribs, I just sauce them. Is what I like to do. So really what I do is just hit the rib with some cider vinegar, get my sauce, just gonna put it on, and I'll talk more when I go to wrap these about the sauce and about what I use with the sauce to help you guys kind of understand what to look for and what to do with that. But just kind of spread it around, and then I'll hit it again with cider vinegar, and then we'll do the next rib. Same thing. I just really want to get these sauced and covered and get the lid closed as quickly as I can. So like I said, we'll talk more about sauce once I've got them out to wrap. Just kind of brush it around. Just make sure you get them all over. And hit this again. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'll just let them sit in there for about 15 minutes. Let that sauce set, and then after 15 minutes I'll come out using gloves, my barbecue gloves. I will reach in with my hands and flip them over, and then sauce the other side, let them sit for 15 minutes, and then after that I'll pull them out for wrapping. It's really important when you any type of meat like this, especially with ribs or brisket or anything that you're cooking, you don't want to use tongs to manipulate the meat or pull it out. You always want to try to use your hands because the meat's, of course, going to be hot. That's why I always use the gloves to be able to pull them out and not burn myself. But anyways, be back soon to show you the wrap. Okay, so I've got my foil out all ready to get prepping for the ribs to get pulled and to get them wrapped. I flipped them over. They're now just letting that sauce sit on the back side of the ribs, and so I'm just going to go ahead and start getting the foil ready for that now. One thing I did want to point out with foil, there is a dull side and there is also a shiny side to foil. Be sure whenever you're wrapping that you have the dull side on the outside, whenever you're wrapping the shiny side on the inside. The shiny side being on the outside will actually reflect heat and slow your cook down significantly. So wrapping shiny side up, we're going to put our ribs on the shiny side and then wrap it so the dull side of the foil is facing out. I did want to mention too about sauce. So this is the barbecue sauce that I make. It's just one that I made myself. Got the recipe from Aaron Franklin. It's one of his sauces, but really you can use any sauce that you want to use. There's no right or wrong. Whatever flavors you like, make it and use it. I have a few different sauces that I make. This is one of them that I make. This is my first time using this sauce on ribs. It's a little bit more runny than what I normally use, but you know what I typically will do is I'll fill this bottle halfway up with sauce and then fill the rest of the way up with cider vinegar. So half cider vinegar, half sauce, just to dilute it, make it so it's runny, make it so it's not too thick. The reason why I like this sauce and some of the other sauces that I make is because they have a low sugar content level to them. You know, that's really important when we're talking barbecue, is to use sauces that don't have a lot of sugar in them. Reason being, sugar will burn in your smoker, to burn on your grill. If you get sauces that don't have sugar, you reduce that burning that happens from them. But anyways, this is the sauce that I use. Whatever sauce you like, go ahead and use it. Again, no real right or wrong. It's a preference thing, right? So the first thing that I do is I just adjust my spray bottle so it can be more of a spray. Then I go ahead and I spray the entire surface of the foil with cider vinegar, because we're going to be wrapping this into it. So we want to make sure that this is the last time we get to see the ribs. We want to make sure we get them as tender and as juicy as we possibly can and not dry them out. And then where I'm going to put the ribs, I'll just take and just squirt a little bit of sauce on and then just set it like this. Then I'll just go and grab a rib and put it on top side down. Alright, so here it is. Rib 1 is out, ready to go. What I'm going to do real quick is just really quickly spritz the top side. And you can see just has a really good color to it now, especially after we've added a little bit of sauce to it. So just spritz that side real quick. Then we'll take the rib, flip it over upside down, and then what I like to do is just spritz this again, get the sauce, put just a little bit more sauce on the back side, spritz it again, and then real quick just kind of check for any rough edges on this. Make sure that there's nothing that's going to puncture the foil. We don't want to have any holes in the foil at all when we're wrapping. We do want to make it kind of tight still. Just kind of tuck it around. Get it in there really well, really good. Don't want a lot of air pockets, but again, we don't want any leaking matter from holes. Get it all in there. And this one is wrapped, and so now what I'll do is I'll put it back on the cooker just like this, with the side that we initially started up is now going to be down, and then we'll cook them the rest of the way. They'll be in there for about hour and a half, 2 hours ish at the most. Really, we're not really going to go off of time. I'm actually going to go off of feel. How these feel is going to tell me when they're done, but I'll show that when we get to that point. But I think we'll get the other one, get it wrapped, and then get the hiss back up in the cooker and get it cooking and going, and be back to show you how to check them for done.